Most of the startups are talking about increasing the range of the vehicle by putting bigger batteries. What are you working on?
Purely four-wheeler based mobility is not going to sustain. We have to provide vehicles that are leaner, smarter, more safer and comfortable.
What is the biggest myth people still have about EV?
Family customer, working woman or a elderly gentleman, they're not bothered about how many wheels it has. They want to move safely with comfort.
Didn't people call you crazy kind of idea you are working on rather than working on cars and you were working on trikes?
Not just when we started, people still call us that. We are technologists. We are building a new form of technology.
What are the three key features of your vehicle what you have built?
Unlike a regular three-wheeler, you can take sharp turns. We offer on-demand self-balancing, which provides comfort. Our twin wheel provides the maximum road grip than any other vehicle.
How are you seeing iGoWise doing in 2013?
We want to build hundreds of brands of trikes. Beyond range, batteries, sporty look, we want to target on safety, comfort, accessibility.
I was traveling to Singapore once and they had extra toll for a busier road. We can say it as a congestion charge, right? Is that a right way to control traffic? What is your point of view?
100% we need congestion pricing. Ideally, this should happen once we build enough public infrastructure.
How serious is the dead weight problem? Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Vision Grid. My intention here on the Vision Grid is not only to bring up established companies, but also some very interesting startups which are going to create a big impact in the EV industry. Another startup, I would say, yeah, and they have recently raised some funds. We will get to know more from the CEO himself, Sravan Kumar Appana. Hello, Shravan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Sachin. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great. So iGoWise Mobility Private Limited, right? So tell us how did this journey start, and tell us more about you.
iGoWise Mobility, as the name stands for, right? We are a smart mobility startup. We
Yeah.
are into providing deep tech technology solutions in the mobility space. We've been in the space for almost a decade, but iGoWise Mobility is like a 5-year-old startup. So myself, I am a software engineer, a techie. I've worked in several technology products. I worked in Malaysia, Israel. I came back to pursue my business education. But like typical NRI, right? So I was really frustrated with the kind of challenges that we face typically on traffic, right? So it's a 3-hour commute that is used to be the most depressing part of the day, and that's where really the seed got planted. I was working with Vizag Smart City. We're building a city command center and all. There was a lot of things happening, but still the real impact was very minimal, at least by my perception. So that's where I was, really thinking on how to go about. The cornerstone of iGo has started over there. We have really defined that, without improving the mobility, we cannot improve the urban livability, right? So that's the foundation. That is what driven. Before the pandemic, we are, building much more ambitious autonomous shuttle pods for the public mobility space. But then, we decided to pivot as pandemic had different plans. But we were very clear on we were not creating like just another electric version of an existing format, electric scooter or electric auto. So we wanted to utilize our learnings and identify the issues on the ground and create solutions for those specific issues, rather than trying to chase a particular trend, right? So there was a lot of hype on the EV side, but our purpose was very clear: how to tackle traffic congestion, how to tackle the safety issues on our road, which are, I'm sure all of us can agree that we have real issues at hand.
Lovely. So, welcome to this podcast, Shravan, and I'm expecting some really key insights and your expertise to people should know more about this. Okay. So I was reading a lot about your work, and I read a sentence from your side that shrinking powertrains can unlock mobility for billions of people. So I want to understand more about you. What did it mean, Shravan?
So it's pretty straightforward. We know that there are a billion cars currently
Hmm.
today, over the last century that are currently running. The
Hmm.
Western, at least personal mobility, is fully reliant on four-wheeler based concept, right? So this was built in the petrol and diesel era. The kind of vehicles were also built for those particular engines, which are bulky and noisy, and lot of it takes a lot of space. Whereas the future need not be exactly the same, and that's where the the biggest advantage, we would call it a superpower of electric vehicles or the battery powered vehicles, is the compactness, right? The size of the powertrain, drivetrain, the battery is continuously shrinking, right? And that is what really would drive more than anything. That's our core bet, and it is not unheard of, right? We all remember the size of the earlier mainframe IBM computers and all, right? So we used to have landline phones, etc. At least the current generation may not know what about those. Even the cameras used to be so bulky and all. So if you look at across the board, technology has been shrinking. The computing industry, the mobile phone industry revolution happened because of the shrinking semiconductor chip and the shrinking battery, right? And the same is definitely true. There is no reason why it cannot be true in the case of automobiles. We just need to find the right use cases, and we need to figure out the right format that doesn't compromise, right? So people do not want to compromise when it comes to their mobility choices also. As long as we provide all the things, the main things that they demand for, uh, that's when really the adoption will take place. That's our bet.
Lovely. So most of the startups are talking about increasing the range of the vehicle by putting bigger batteries, right? And some people are working on on swapping model of batteries so that the range anxiety they're able to reduce. What are you working on so that people can understand?
Yeah. So our proposition is very clear, right? Like we said, we need solution that work for people, that work for people individually and also collectively. So when you ask for a individual or a family person, what they are looking for primarily is a safe mobility. How do I go from point A to B in a safe, in a smart, in a comfortable way? At the same time, in that pursuit of comfort, in the pursuit of safety and status, right? We cannot simply have everyone drive an SUV, right? So the US has already tried this approach, right? It's not a emerging world phenomena, the traffic congestion and all. If you go to San Francisco, you will see the kind of examples, right? The kind of traffic congestion and all, right? So it's very clear. Today's four-wheeler based, purely four-wheeler based mobility is not going to sustain. Certainly not going to sustain for none of the emerging world cities, right? So we have to improve our public infrastructure, but also we have to provide vehicles that are leaner, that are smarter, that are more safer and comfortable, right? As simple as that, right? So that the it's not the in many cases, at least, it's not range anxiety as much as a charging anxiety, right? So if most of the, at least the small vehicles, people don't use it for like 6 7 hours, unless very few folks who rely on their vehicle for livelihood. Otherwise people use it for 3 4 hours a day. The rest of the entire duration of the day, the vehicle is lying idle, right? So if you find the right charging point, just like our mobile phone, right?
Yeah.
We don't worry about it lasting a day. or even we don't worry about that because the plug is right there. Even if you go to a friend's house or somewhere, we just ask for a charging socket. That's how we feel the mobility will be as well, right? That's the core essence of what we are working. Beyond range, beyond batteries, beyond sporty looks, we want to target on safety, comfort, accessibility, right? Accessibility for every person in the family is very, very important for us.
So, Shravan, what is the biggest myth that you think that people still have about EV? And I want to understand your opinion about this.
So I wouldn't call it a myth, but more of a misconception. Like, the need to group all the automobiles in a single bucket, right? So EVs is a very, very broad categorization, right? So we want to specifically distinguish the distinction between a long distance EV versus a short distance EV, right? So something that you use for a vehicle used for intercity long distance usage versus a within a city, the usage is completely different, the requirements are different, the characteristics are different, the challenges are different, right? So if you look at long distance EVs like in intercity EVs, like that can be cars, buses, trucks, right? So these are all heavy vehicles. These are long distance requiring vehicles. Their challenges are way different. The usage is way different from a intra-city commute, right? So bulk of us need commute solutions, especially like 60% of the population that lives in urban cities and all. If we have to segregate this categorization and think of solutions that make sense for each of those, right? Simply like a car, we typically has been the case in the petrol era. The case has been that you are doing a very high ticket purchase, right? So 10 lakhs or 5 lakhs you used to spend for a car. For a small family, it's a high ticket purchase. So they wanted everything, right? Obviously, they want to go long distance. They want to, have use it in within a city as well. Now, as we are more and more number of people are, upgrading, we cannot have everyone have the same solution that used to be the case. So is even a person like us who wants a second vehicle at home, they can opt for a smaller compact vehicle. And same is true for a person who is just now trying to upgrade from a scooter or a two wheeler. His nearest option is like 7-8 lakhs kind of a compact car, right? So the leap is very big for them. If we build solutions that make sense for each of these categories, it becomes easier for those folks.
Okay. So, in a layman's language, Sarvan, what I want to understand is key, which segment are you targeting directly? I mean to say, is it for housewives? Is it for elderly people? Is it for office goers day to day? Or which segment? Or is it for B2B?
Right. So that's a very tricky question. Like for us, this is something that we struggle with many investors and others also. See, when we are building a new technology, right? So it could be the TCP/IP protocol or that enable the internet. It could be the LLM models that is creating the AI era, right? So the technology has several implications, right? You may build a product on top of the technology that caters to a specific segment. But when we are trying to build a new technology that has several implications, right? So what we identified are the gaps in the market today. Like you rightly pointed, there are elderly, there are women who struggle with regular two wheelers, right? So we have identified those folks. And so that's a significant number of folks who want something more than a scooter, but are not having that option as of today, right? So that is definitely a segment that we would want to target. At the same time, like that's the drive behind our this thing also. Like my mother herself is an independent woman. For 40 years she has been an independent woman, but a small incident on the road, and now she's dependent on someone to take her around, right? So she lost her freedom from this incident. So that is definitely a target segment for us. At the same time, there are not enough the more leads we are getting today from the B2B space, logistics space, where you need a specific vehicle which has good capacity but also not compromising on speed, right? If you look at most of the e-rickshaws that are more popular in the northern belt, they do provide very good capacity, but that
Mm.
cost, it comes at a cost which is low speed, low stability, very difficult to handle. These are the issues that we are solving for that market. So these are two distinct markets that we are trying to cater, at least with our technology.
Great. So, Shravan, what I want to understand is ki whatever you have made, how is it different from a three-wheeler? Does it come in under a two-wheeler segment or does it come under a three-wheeler segment?
Again, very good question. Like we are saying, this categorization based on number of wheels is also slightly outdated in our purview, right? So my customer, like a personal family customer, a working woman or a elderly gentleman, uh, they're not bothered about how many wheels it has. They want to move safely. They want to move with comfort. They want to go around to a, local retail store and not worry about parking hassles, or these are the issues that they are struggling with, right? So
Mm.
our approach is also that, right? So it's we want to create a new segment. One of our customers refer to it as a 2.5 wheeler, right? So what we are building using our technology, it's basically a hybrid between a two wheeler and three wheeler. It's very compact and sleek, and doesn't require extra parking space or additional driving license than a two wheeler, whereas it also provides more stability, better confidence at low speeds on our potholes, just like a three wheeler, right? So that's the core essence of our technology, one of our technologies at least.
Just out of curiosity, I also want to understand, Shravan, that when you started this, didn't people call you like crazy kind of idea you're working on rather than working on two wheelers, which is such a big market in India, rather than working on cars and you were working on trikes?
Yeah, not just when we started, people still call us that, right? So not everyone has bought into the idea. So we have to change the perception, and we have a long way to go in that, including my dad. He still feels that I'm throwing away my career and, like, working on something, yeah, he's not still convinced on that, right? So at the same time, I am very clear on my purpose, right? So what I have experienced, being abroad and coming back, what are the solutions that make sense for the Indian market? Funnily enough, like, India is the largest three wheeler market, right? So we are the biggest three wheeler market, but unfortunately, we don't have the concept of trike as popular. There are several reasons to that. Like I said, the stability factor, the high propensity to topple for a regular three wheeler, because of which the speed is also restricted. There are regulatory challenges. None of them are considered aspirational, right? They're not built for personal usage, right? So there's a lot of social stigma as well attached to it, right? So there are several challenges that we were very much well aware of, what we understood from the market research also. But at the same time, there are enough folks who understand the proposition, who are, like, firsthand, they experience that problem. They are looking for solutions which are not available today, right? So definitely, we still get to hear that a lot. We hopefully we will change that perception.
Great, lovely. So another question I have, Shravan, is that key generally what happens is you build a product, you do the testing, then you make a sample lot, and then you put it in the market, then you face some problems, and then you solve those problems, and then you go for a mass production, right?
Correct.
So I want to understand what were some initial problems that you have already faced and you have solved it, so that we will understand more about the product.
Right. So again, we were, at least our mission, we didn't start this journey to become an OEM or, sell few vehicles, compete with the, existing incumbents and all, right? So we are very clear, we are technologists. We are building a new form of technology. We want even the incumbents, large incumbents, to adopt our technology, right? So we want to see democratization of the trike as a concept, the light EV space overall, right? We are very bullish about that because selling, distribution, after sales service, these are all skills of their own, competencies of their own. We are not averse to building those skills, but when there are folks who can do it much better than us, we are very much open to working with them, right? So coming to the our product journey, like I said, we have been very agile. We have done probably 100, more than 100, 150 kind of designs. We have validated them with our customers, with our network and all. We almost 15 to 20 prototypes we have done, different formats. So our approach has been so very agile engineering, bring our concept to life, because we needed to test we are in a market where there is a lot of unsaid things, right? So we had to take an approach of agile engineering, and we have got a lot of feedback, both positive and negative. We have had different formats we've tried out, and then completely pivoted at least 3 times on our product, right? So our first model was so radical, people were not able to put it in any bag bucket, like, is it a scooter, is it a bike, is it a moped, what is it, like, there was no familiarity angle, right? So it was so radical. Then
Hmm.
we tried to trim it down, even though keeping it our distinctive personality, our USP aside. We try to make it as familiar as possible, so that like people can benchmark and all, right? So that's the most important challenge that we have done, but we are glad that we have taken that approach, so that we were very clear when we are going for certification. These are all very, very expensive aspects, right? So before going to manufacturing, before taking those expensive initiatives, we were very clear, because we got a lot of feedback and validation beforehand. Okay.
So, Shivan, for the sake of audience, if we want to understand what are the three key features of your vehicle, what you have built, what would be those three features, highlighted features?
So the most important element of our technology, as what we refer to as anti-topple swiveling, right? So it's a mechanism where, unlike a regular three-wheeler, you can take sharp turns, you can maneuver the vehicle even on a narrow lanes, because of the agility that it provides, right? So that's the core essence of our trike technology. Additionally, we offer, kind of on-demand self-balancing, which provides comfort. Someone carrying loads or carrying their family, they will comfortably sit at a traffic light without putting their leg down, right? So they can switch on the stabilization. They don't need to balance the vehicle like until the light turns green, right? So that's the most important aspect. And our twin wheel provides the maximum road grip, right? Even better than any sports bike that has on a tarmac, right? So sports bike with their fat tires are very good for tarmac, but for our potholes, our wet roads, they are not sufficient, right? So our twin wheel provides the maximum road grip that can be provided on our than any other vehicle, any other category, right? That's just very, 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 very much proud of. Okay, but of course, the reliability aspects and the convenience aspects, there are several elements, but this is the core essence of our truck.
Lovely. More and more, I'm hearing about this vehicle. I'm getting an urge to quickly get on over a ride and check This thing. Still, I have not been able to test the vehicle, but
You are
sooner.
welcome. Yeah, I was expecting you are in Bangalore and we could provide, but I didn't know that you have moved to Delhi and all.
Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. So, Shravan, how serious is the dead weight problem? And you have said in few places that vehicles are carrying more of metal than people. And how does it mean? Could you please clarify?
Yeah, so we all know that a 30 kg cycle can carry a 70 kg human being, right? So, but unfortunately, the current scenario, most of us travel in our cars for commute, and we are using 2000 kg of metal to ride, on a daily basis to office and back, right? So even at full occupancy, it is like 300 kg of payload. We are using 2000 kg of metal, right? Why we had to compensate for the lack of road infrastructure, or the other reason being, these are vehicles built for expressways, built for race tracks. We are unfortunately using in a situation where we are all in a urban congested area, but most of us don't have that choice, right? So the public mobility is not catching up fast enough, and as we are upgrading our lifestyles, it's inevitable that we want the best for our family, we want the best for with respect to safety and comfort, right? So but can we do that without putting more pressure not only on our environment but also on our urban infrastructure, right? So people don't want to compromise, of course, on safety and comfort of their family, but how do we design solutions that do not put more pressure on our limited urban infrastructure, right? So that's the core essence of our mission.
Great. Okay. A few things that I want to understand about company is how are you seeing iGoWise doing in 2030? What kind of products it will have? Or say 2032, what kind of products it will have?
Yeah. So iGo, like mentioned, is a technology company first and first, right? We are very happy to work with folks who are ready to build more trikes that can be the existing incumbents who are looking for, like, better options in their portfolio. A four-wheeler guy who wants to provide a more affordable option like Tata has attempted, right? So many folks have tried it out. So we are offering a more concrete solution which is almost market ready. At the same time, someone wants to upgrade from their existing two-wheeler portfolio or a three-wheeler portfolio. They are offering a personal consumer-oriented product. So they can simply leverage our platform, leverage our technology instead of trying to start from scratch, right? So they can save a lot of time, lot of resources with respect to that. Even if you look at other side, the EV space, especially the EV two-wheeler space, if you go back 1.5 year back, we used to hear this: there are 450, 600 EV companies, so-called EV two-wheeler companies. Most of these are, they have good intentions, right? So they have very good customer service, customer pulse, after sales service experience. They have an experience in automobiles and all. What they lacked was R&D experience. What they lacked was like good branding and creating a big brand kind of an experience that they competence they may not have at that point of time. So obviously they were relying on these imported kits, bring them and assemble and sell it off, right? So what if they had an option of an indigenous kit? What if they had an option of something built for Indian roads, Indian usage, right? The kind of conditions that we have, I'm sure many of them would have adopted that, right? So that's what we are trying to provide. We are very bullish on our mission about democratizing this space. Not just couple of brands that we want to build. We want to build hundreds of brand, enable hundreds of brands of trikes. That's the core of our mission and our business model as well, right? So I'm sure the network effect aspect that you know of, right? So when we have multiple brands leveraging our technology, the pace at which we can develop and improve our technology also goes faster, right? Rather than when I'm doing in my lab and trying to improve the technology, it takes much longer time, it takes longer resources, and it's we don't have enough real world data, right? So this way we can really improve our technology and make it world class, and export our technology as well, right? Again, this is very very important for us. There are so many folks who have asked us, where did you get this technology from, where did you import it from, right? So
That to my mind also. Ki, have you seen similar things in generally things are copied in India. So have you seen these kind of vehicles already on foreign roads, and you have tried to make in India the same thing?
Yeah, so you used to get insulted and, like, feel bad about that, right? So, but then we slowly realized, came to terms with that. We have to make that cultural shift, that we are capable of building new technologies which are not inspired by any of the Western or Eastern technologies. So we want to be the guys who can scale this technology across the board, right? So to 190 countries or so, that's part of our logo to represent the vision that we have to global.
So shall I understand that you are going to be remain in trikes only, or you are I can see some of your portfolio moving towards two wheelers or maybe four wheelers also. And I know that
Uh,
this segment is you are not agreeing to, but still that is
right.
my language. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I will refer to the same, that you know this categorization is not a right categorization for us. It is not about the number of wheels. It is about what kind of safety, what kind of comfort, what kind of luxury that we are offering our customer. If it makes sense for a particular user, I can take an example of my child, right? So she doesn't want to ride those cycle with training wheels, right? Does it really need training wheels if she was riding a trike instead of a bicycle, right? So that is the extent to which we are looking at the implications of our technology, right at the childhood, to someone, a wealthy person who wants to get chauffeured around within a city. Again, he can afford a BMW, or he can afford a Rolls Royce, but still he would prefer, his time is very valuable. He would prefer if he can navigate our traffic much easier, right? So there is possibility of our technology being used for that category as well, right? So we don't subscribe to this categorization at all.
Great. Lovely. So I have understood that you are not, as per my understanding, you are not going to manufacture or sell the vehicles. You are a technology company.
We're not saying that. We are doing that because the initially, at least, to like I said, refine the technology, we needed more vehicles on the road rather than spending more time in the lab and simulations and all. We wanted to have vehicles on the road that will collect real world data, right? So that's the reason, we have one of the main reasons we have started our own product, which has we recently completed almost 1 lakh kilometers of real customer data, right? So that wouldn't have been possible if we haven't created our own brand and all. But our growth path or our scale model is not just selling vehicles, right? So we are very bullish on that, because technology can scale much faster than products, right? So which in turn can scale much faster than services. So that's the core proposition. We are ready to enable multiple brands, but at the same time we'll have couple of brands of our own as well.
There are people, say in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, in Kerala, they want to invest 1 crore rupees with your business. with your guideline. What is the offer for them?
So yes, we are currently, devising a super dealer kind of a model where they will be working with multiple small retail dealerships, and they can, depending on their competence, and we will evaluate their experience and all on customer service, on handling automobiles, etc. Based on that, they can we'll have a small setup, very small micro factory kind of a setup, where we will provide the entire kit. They can assemble, they can do the quality checks as per the SOP defined, and then work with these multiple dealers, so that you know we want to enable this biggest problem today in the market, that is artificially created, of course, but there's a lot of perceptional issue with the maintenance of EV service, etc. Right? So, which is counter to the actual reality, right? But we want to cater to that, because there are many entrepreneurs. Like you mentioned, they are very good at certain aspects like customer service experience and all. We want to enable them, we want to train them, we want to help them build a global brand, right? So that's the core essence. They can get very good returns without having to worry about certifications, without worrying about product development, or relying on these imported kits, right? So which are it can be quite problematic in the long run, right? So that's the core essence of our model.
Okay, great. So, while discussing, you mentioned about anti-topple technology. I want to understand more about it.
First and foremost, I'm sure you have seen the kind of vehicles, specifically e-rickshaws and e-carts, right? So they are more popular in the northern belt, right? So the fundamental reason why they, like, even though there is a growing sector, not many you will see, south or west of India, is primarily a few challenges. Number one is the stability, right? So these are very highly unstable vehicles because of the compact, narrow nature, right? So the narrower you have and the CG goes high, there's a high propensity to topple. The same you can experience counter in if you look at the high speed rail, bullet trains and all, you will not hear them derailing and all, right? So whereas regular trains which go much slower, we hear they got derailed, etc. Right? So that is one of the inspirations for us. Tilting technology, when done right, has can go much faster with much more stability than a regular rigid axle vehicle, right? So that's one of the parts. Another simple way to understand this technology, if you have experienced a gimbal, right? So you use a gimbal to stabilize the camera on the move, right? So very simple technology, doesn't require a lot of energy like gyroscopes and all. Typical trikes from Europe and Japan, they use gyroscopic technology, which definitely works, but very expensive, lot of energy it drains, and it's very bulky as well, right? So these won't fit in any of the vehicles that we are building for the emerging world, right? So that's the core of our anti-topple swiveling, where our twin wheel provides maximum road grip. The rest of the body independently swivels, so that you get confidence while cornering, confidence while going fast, right? On a pothole or on a narrow lane, right? That's the core essence of our technology.
If people want to have a test ride of your vehicle, is it open yet? Or if yes, then where they can go and have a test ride?
Right. So for retail consumers, we haven't opened test rides yet. We just, for this Diwali, we have opened pre-bookings on our website, where they can register themselves, and mostly by January we are starting the test ride option. Mostly in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, we will be targeting. But for logistics consumer who have like bigger volume, bulk order, make to order and all, we are providing already. Trials are happening in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Goa, Ahmedabad, Pune.
Great, lovely. Okay, so Shravan, India is speaking a lot about Indian made vehicles. Is India really ready to make a completely indigenous vehicle of its own or manufacture continuously?
Okay, so this is a very tricky question. Like this complete is a very difficult proposition, right? So if you go back just 2 3 years or like 4 5 years, we used to import almost 100% of our toys, children's toys. There is no sophisticated technology. There's no reason for we should rely on external parties for the entire toy industry was reliant on external parties, right? So but we have taken enough strides, even though little late, but still we have taken measures so that we have seen the quick transformation that has happened in those cases where you don't need very sophisticated technology, but we are unnecessarily relying on someone else, right? But the world is a dependent place. There are enough items. Forget vehicles, like our phones, our laptops. These we may be assembling a lot more today than earlier, but still there are several components that come from elsewhere, right? So 100% is a very difficult target to achieve, and we don't need to have that kind of target also, right? Right, when we talk about self reliance and Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? So we just have to build resilience with respect to what we are building, right? So we still can rely on other countries and all, but just in case we have some shocks, we should not be completely dumbstruck, right? So we should build processes, we should build gradually components. Like I was saying, most of the two wheeler guys, they used to import nuts and bolts and everything, right? So that shouldn't be the case. Some key components we still have reliance on other bus, but the component ecosystem is developing. But there is a lot more push that we certainly need to make it more resilient. Yes.
Shravan, so coming to the government policy wise, you in your career might have seen a lot of subsidies coming up and a lot of policy changes that has happened in front of us. We have seen FAME and other policies, right, which has come from the government. Now, tell me what one policy change Shravan is looking for, which can really impact the adoption of EV in India.
Okay. So it's my if you are asking for one thing, like more than regulation, what we need is deregulation, right? So what we have seen, most of our rules that are framed in the petrol era, most they're very old ones that we are trying to improve in bits and pieces, right? But there is a need for radical changes in the way we support innovation, because these rules were made because of certain constraints. Like I was saying, e-rickshaws have a limit of 25 kilometers per hour, right? Because of the technology was not there to enable stability beyond that speed, right? But it may not make sense today, right? One of the cases we have seen a sari guard for two wheeler, right? So we are using motors today. We don't we're not using rims and spokes based wheels, right? So alloy wheels we are using, hub motors people are using. They don't need sari guards and all, right? So these are very old rules that we are still stuck with. Unfortunately, we have to follow. There are certainly improvements happening, but there's a lot of speed that we need to pick up to make it more viable, right? So that's, I will say, if one thing needs to be improved, it is radical deregulation. So that will definitely promote lot of innovation, lot of new ideas into the fold.
So media is talking a lot about ki by 2030 we will be a completely electric adopted vehicle nation, right? And so, what do you think? And what's the if it is a myth, then tell us more about it.
See, anyone who follows understands media hype cycles and all, right? So, it's nothing. If you are really going taking by the media hype, then you're in for a ride. All I can
Hmm.
say. At the same time, what we are in the sustainability space, right? So at least we have to understand this. government targets are good guidelines for us to go in a certain direction, but it is not, what is important is not 2030 or 35 or 40, right? So when we are building systems, when we are building looking for adoption, they should be sustainable. If people are like buying vehicles today out of these incentives and all, then they are frustrated because of lack of service or something else, or the charging stations not working for longer. So these issues are propping up because we are prioritizing pure speed over sustainability, right? We have to go hand in hand. Yes, of course, we have to reduce our oil imports, we have to reduce our carbon emissions, all those are there, but whatever solutions we are building, they have to be sustainable, they have to be reliable. Those are very important for us. In that way, yeah, certainly 2030 looks like a very long shot, the pace at which we are going. There is improvement that can be done. There are a lot of low hanging fruits that we can address immediately to make it happen faster. But I would emphasize still at the same, not just speed, but building robust supply, robust processes, and supporting innovation. These are very important as well.
So we have seen that I was traveling to Singapore once, and they had extra toll for a busier road kind of charges, and we can say it as a congestion charge, right?
Right.
So is that a right way to control traffic? What is your point of view?
I will say 100%. 100% we need congestion pricing, usage based pricing, because ideally this should happen once we build enough public infrastructure, public mobility, metros, and last mile connectivity. We improve and then put congestion pricing. That's the ideal scenario. But we are already late on that part. We have to do it in parallel. We have to start with congestion pricing. At the same time, this concept of road tax doesn't make sense, right? So one time road tax, when we are buying the vehicle, it's a roundabout way of getting the funds, right? So you are taking funds on one time basis, and then someone else will utilize it for something else. Instead, we need accountability. Yes, we need to price it when there is higher demand on the infrastructure, everyone is using the road at the same time. Of course, it makes sense to have surge pricing and congestion pricing. But at the same time, the unused like road tax kind of thing, we have to eliminate and channel all the funds towards public infrastructure.
And do you think that electric vehicles, specially, can help us reduce the accident rates in India?
Yeah, again, this is about not about being electric, but if you utilize the benefits or the superpower of electric powertrain, there is a
Mhm.
lot we can do, right? So one of the elements of electric powertrain is it's easier to integrate with communication technology than the petrol vehicles, right? So whether it is ADAS or whether it is assistance for rider, so that can be provided with EV much better. But even more important, like I was saying, is the if we utilize the leverage the EV powertrain properly, it can bring down the CG, it can bring additional stability, like we are trying to do with our technology, which provides better road grip on our on our roads, right? So typically, when a road accident occurs, right, it's a three-part problem, right? So there is infrastructure, there is rider behavior, and there is the vehicle, right? It's very easy for us to blame the infrastructure, like we do every time this contractor, that municipal corporation is not doing their job, which is our right, which we should do. At the same time, there is a lot of finger pointing on the rider. He's not wearing helmet, he's not driving properly, we don't train properly, etc., which is also fair in many cases. But the third part we totally ignore, right? So can we demand better vehicles which are more suited for our infrastructure? Can we ask for, are we ready to pay more when someone is offering a better vehicle, not just more range but more safety, right? So those are elements we have to ask as well. right? So though certainly it is possible, there's a lot we can do, because more than like half of the fatalities on our roads are on two wheelers, especially scooters and all. Irrespective of how many airbags, how many seat belts you have on your four wheeler, if your other vehicle, which is a scooter, is skiddy on a rainy day, it doesn't matter, right? So we have to build both the systems.
Agree. Now, one question from my side, which I asked everyone, but answers are different.
Okay.
So, swapping versus fast charging, which what is the future of India?
So I would say neither.
Okay.
So yeah, we are very bullish. Like I said, the solutions for heavy vehicles versus light vehicles are different. The intra-city commute options, like our two wheelers, three wheelers, and all, they are much closer to our smartphones than four wheelers. The At least the future that we imagine, it is a future where slow charging is ubiquitous, right? You're everywhere, whether it is a pawn shop or a restaurant or a grocery store, your office, our home, everywhere we have the provision to charge our phone. Our city commuter also should have that provision, because there is a lot of time that our vehicle remains idle. We don't need fast charging, we just need a plug point so that we can charge where it is parked, right? So that's the future that we think. And especially when we go to rural Bharat and all, you cannot have enough fast charging facilities, you cannot have enough swap stations if you want to really penetrate tier 3, tier 4 and all, right? So slow charging, which is accessible everywhere, is the way to go in our opinion.
Amazing. So, very, very interesting insights that I'm getting from Shravan. So, Shravan, I want to understand which segment you are focusing on with the vehicles that you are building right now.
Yeah, Sachin, like we said, when we started this journey, we have identified several gaps. One of them, of course, is very close to my heart, which is women and elderly. My mother, who is a working woman for 40 years, then she got, dependent on someone else with a small incident on the road. She doesn't want to take a scooter out anymore, right? So that is one of the inspirations for me to build this category. Women and elderly who want better safety, better comfort, right? So the reason why most of us are opting SUVs today, right? So better presence and better suitability for our kind of roads. That is definitely the prime segment, which we are getting a lot of leads on the retail side from. Right? At the same time, our vehicle is built rugged enough for a small entrepreneur, like a small farmer, kirana stop owner, or a coconut vendor, right? So these are all guys who rely on their vehicle for livelihood. They don't just want capacity; they want, a good capacity to carry, earn better livelihood, but also they need speed. They need to use it at the end of the day as a personal vehicle, right? So they don't have the luxury of one commercial vehicle, one personal vehicle, and all. So they want a multi-utility vehicle, and that is how we are looking at this two particular segments, who are looking for better safety, better comfort, better accessibility, and capacity.
Great. That looks like an amazing thought behind the products, whatever you are building. Great. Shravan, what keeps you up at night? Is it technology? Is it funding? Or is it people's mindset? What is it?
So right now it is my 6-month-old son who is keeping me at night.
Lovely.
But yeah, so we are very clear on our purpose, right? So that makes things, a lot of decisions, lot of things much easier, and that makes a lot of things, streamlined when it comes to people also. Of course, if when they are rallying around a purpose, then I'm trying to chase them, so that makes things much more simpler. But the real, the challenge so far has been on the supply side, right? So getting components from multiple different vendors, right? So there's a lot of discrepancy or difference when from one batch to other, even within a batch, how quality is performed and all. Things are improving. Certainly, we see a lot of improvement over the last 5 years, but still we have a very long way to go. When it comes to building high quality, it cannot be that we can build everything in house, right? So, but we have to rely on good partners. And initially, it was a very challenging aspect when you are in R&D phase and everything has an MOQ of 500,000 and all. So not many folks, good quality folks, who would respond to you. But once we have enough visibility, enough brand, then people started responding, and we are able to secure very robust supply chain. But still, the supply ecosystem is what really drives the quality, and that is what keeps things challenging.
Great, Shravant. I am aligned with your thoughts. So, one message for the youth that you would want to share with them.
Yeah, we are not yet utna bada nahi hue ki to provide a message to entire youth, but the bottom line is that, okay, don't start up, is our message. If even if you do startup, don't pursue hardware and manufacturing kind of things, right? Even if you do that, don't try to create new categories and all and be naive like us, right? Just in case you ignore all of that, okay, just keep ignoring all the generic advices, and then keep pursuing and persisting. That's the only way to bring change.
Bingo. Lovely. So, all generic advices should be ignored. That is a key thing
Yes.
that I got.
So yeah, we have to really validate the relevance to us, right? So someone may be giving that advice from a really good point
Point
of
of
view, yeah, but it may not be relevant to you. It's a can do more harm than good if you just follow generic advice.
great, amazing. So, Shravan, if people want to connect with you to understand more about business, about EV industry, or some guidance into EV industry, so are you okay to share your email ID with us?
Certainly, it's pretty straightforward. Sravan at iGoWise.com. We are always open to youngsters and new ideas, fresh ideas to that can really catapult us.
Thank you, Shravan. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. And I hope people will love this episode with us. And thank you so much for the time you have taken out for this episode.
It's my pleasure, Sachin. Thanks for inviting me, and hopefully we'll do this face to face again. Uh,
Sure.
certainly look forward to that.